So, good afternoon from St. Martin, from the Caribbean. I'm here with a special guest, with a incredible legend in our industry. He's since 26 years in network marketing. Can you imagine? And I will tell you something more about this person because I grew up in this industry by looking to his videos and many other I say experienced dinosaurs, but maybe it's not the right word to say, but experienced leaders that really can teach us the shortcut to success. And I'm privileged and honored because this gentleman is almost never doing really events of network marketing where he can just train people, but he's mostly focused on his company events. And finally, he decided for Ted Nauten and Dini Norlander, the founders of Business for Home site, to do a training and to contribute and to participate. As you see from the Caribbean here, a lot of planes are coming, but I know that the view is worth it. So thank you very much. And I would like to start immediately because this gentleman has a lot to say. And this gentleman has a lot to say. And I would like to start with the first question. Like, I would like to know from you, Matt Morris. Welcome on this interview.
Thank you.
First of all, tell us about something about you, but especially how and why did you start in network marketing?
Yeah, I would love to. Well, number one, I appreciate you interviewing me. I know you're doing this for TED and interviewing a lot of people, and you're a big part of the Business for Home event. So appreciate you, wrangling us and bringing us all together to do some of these interviews and just your contribution to the industry. So you may have gotten started a good time after me, but you have certainly established your place in our profession as an incredible leader. So I honor you in a big way. So, and I'm a little bit jealous. I am in Dallas, Texas. I'd love to be in St. Martin. I've been to 83 countries and I've never been there. So I'm going to put it on the list.
You should be here because it's really amazing. It's called the Happy Island. So when you come, you don't want to go back anymore.
Absolutely. So how did I get started in network marketing? I was actually 18. I was in college. I was working as a banquet waiter for minimum wage and, working a banquet one night. And so serving, the appetizers and entrees and desserts and coffee and all that stuff. And there was this really cute waitress who kept initiating conversation with me. And I'm, of course, like, she's kind of cute. I'm an 18-year-old young man. And so I'm excited that she keeps initiating conversation and I'm trying to initiate conversation back. And so we're standing at the back of the room, like waiting for everyone to finish dinner. And she asked me, she says, have you ever thought about being in business for yourself? And I want to build rapport with her. And so I said, you know what? All the time. And she said, well, why don't you write your number down and we'll talk business? And I thought, perfect. So I gave her my number. She called me a day or two later and said, hey, it's Mary Beth. You remember we met at the thing? I'm like, yeah. And she's like, well, hey, I thought I'd see if you wanted to meet up at the Hilton Hotel tomorrow night and talk business. And I'm thinking, all right, meet at a hotel at night. I'm thinking we're going to meet at the bar, right? And so I'm like, I'm all in. And so anyway, I show up at the Hilton and she meets me in the lobby and she's like, oh, I'm so glad you're here. Let me introduce you to some of my business associates. And I'm like, okay. So I'm thinking it's just going to be me and her. So she brings me into a meeting room and I see my first network marketing presentation. And she sat me like right on the front row. And I had never heard of network marketing before. And I remember going home that night to my little apartment and just thinking, I can't believe they're the only company that does this. I was like, this is the most genius idea. And so anyway, that was me. I saw it. I was like, man, this is incredible because I never did well in school. Like I finished in the half of the class that made the top half possible. And so struggled in school, was in college. I was struggling in college, like barely getting through my classes, not even getting through all of them. And I just never, I didn't resonate with the corporate world and I didn't see that as a fit. And I kind of always had this thing in the back of my mind that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I just didn't know how. And for me, it was like, wow, this is going to save me from, you know, the workaday world that I'm really not excited about. So, so that's how I got started.
I think that's with most people. They want to become entrepreneurs, but they don't know how. And I'm happy that thanks to people like you that have a lot of experience since many years, we learn a lot in short time. And coincidence, because I was also a waitress going to school also. And at 18, I started also my network marketing career. Wow. So experiencing a little bit the industry and thanks to your experience, I know that you will tell us more about it in the event. But I would like to know shortly 3 tips you would give to people that are starting or in this industry. You know, what are the
Man,
3 tips?
You're a good interview. You're giving me tough questions right off the bat. So so 3 tips. Number 1 is, and this is one of the biggest challenges for me initially, was I really didn't think I was good enough. And so the tip is, believe in yourself like it's a religion. And I know it may sound a little difficult to believe in yourself like it's a religion, but if I look back, like the biggest thing that held me back for the first 5 years was a lack of belief in me. Like I would go to events and I'd see speakers and they were so charismatic, so dynamic. And it seemed like they're just like exude confidence and wisdom and power and all these things. And I was like, I can't relate to that. That's not me. Maybe like years from now, I'll develop into someone who can actually have success. And so I struggled for a long time. And, you know, the belief is, it's kind of like this, like if you may be really bad at playing the piano. Like I don't know how to play the piano, but if I were to practice the piano an hour a day, every day, and I had someone teaching me how to play the piano, which we all have teachers in network marketing, we all have mentors, either in person or, you know, from afar, I'd get good at the piano, right? I mean, if I practiced an hour a day, every day, at the end of a few months, I'd like have the chords down. At the end of the year, I'd be able to play some songs. If I kept doing it after a couple of years, I'd be really good. And so network marketing is really the same thing. You can't not get good. And the problem with me, I beat myself up, and I see networkers beat themselves up so much where it's like, I don't have any credibility. I'm too young. I'm too old. I'm not educated. I've failed in business before. I'm not a good speaker. I'm not a people person. I'm shy. I'm whatever it is, insert excuse. And this was a big breakthrough for me, was like when I met my mentor after 5 years of struggle in network marketing, I met my mentor and he was like one of the charismatic people. In fact, he was the best I had ever seen. People would hang on every word that he said on stage. His closing ratio was amazing. Like he just got it. And he was the kind of guy, like really good looking, never met a stranger, super confident, not me. And he was a natural in a lot of those things. Like he was naturally charismatic, was always like Mr. Popular, that kind of guy, right? And I wasn't. And it was cool because I admired him so much, but I couldn't really relate to him. And I couldn't imagine being as good as him. And here's what I came to. And you know, he actually helped me with this because he saw I kind of idolized him. And he was like, listen, I want you to read a book called The Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz. And I think it was page 27. Like he knew the exact page number and quote. And he said, it's good to observe the leader, learn from him, observe him, but never worship him. Never think you can't go past him, because second best thinkers are invariably second best doers. And I realized that I was like putting him on a pedestal and, you know, putting myself on this lower level. And I spent a lot of time thinking about that. And I said, you know what, here's what I think the reality is most people aren't like him. Most people have a lot of the things going on in my mind, like I don't have credibility, I've never succeeded before, who am I to tell someone else they can succeed and, you know, be successful when I'm not. I was never Mr. Popular, felt like an awkward communicator. Most people are more like me than him. And so if I can get over myself, then I'll inspire thousands of people to succeed. And so here's the thing is, what if what you think is your greatest limitation is actually your greatest strength.
Yes.
And so that's what I got to, was like, my limitation is actually my strength. And when I started going out and doing presentations and trainings and all this stuff, it was like, I don't have to hide the fact that I've like been an awkward communicator. I don't have to hide the fact that I failed for years. I don't have to hide the fact that I felt like I didn't have any credibility. And I used it to my advantage. And it was so like, man, if I can do it, you can do it. And it started building belief in other people. And so believing in yourself is number one. And number two, I would say, is believing in other people like it's a religion. And that's because everyone struggles with belief. I mean, almost everyone thinks they're not good enough. Right. And that's just the thing. It's like, for whatever reason, we feel like we're not good enough. And in so many cases, in my now 21 years of being full-time, this is what my mentor did to me. He believed in me more than I believed in myself. And I've made it part of my mission, is just believing in other people more than they believe in themselves, because they'll often rise up to the level of belief that you have in them. And your belief in someone else increases, you know, their belief. It increases their potential. And so, and it's a core belief of mine, like, it is adopting a core. This is tip number 2, part 2, is adopting a core belief that every person, within every person, lies unlimited potential. So as I am training, as I'm working with my team, as I'm mentoring leaders, I have a core belief that says they have as much or more power than me. Every person has the same power. And if you can genuinely, if that can become a core belief of yours, you can reach down, and it's incredible the leadership that will rise up from your organization if you'll have that kind of belief. And so that's number 2. Number 3, I would say, is it's numbers, right? I mean, you can believe in yourself till the cows come home. You can believe in others more than anyone believes in others. But if you're not willing to do the numbers, if you're not willing to go through the numbers, it's never going to work. And people are like, Matt, what's your secret to creating all these leaders? Because like in my last company, unfortunately, you know, the company I was with filed bankruptcy, went through craziness, the pandemic and all that, but created an organization that grew to 2.5 million customers, 54 documented $1 million earners, hundreds of 6-figure earners. And it's like, and it was a lot of different personally sponsored organizations, like 10, 11 different personally sponsored organizations that grew really big. And they're like, how are you like this? And it's really not any amazing leadership ability on myself. It's a numbers game. Like, I went out and got rejected by 1,500 people, like well over 1,000 people told me no. But in that process of getting rejected massively, I sponsored over 400 people. And of the 400 people, most of them never did anything. Only half of them even sponsored one other person. And I'm probably being generous when I say half. And of the half that did anything, most did very little, like they sponsored 1 or 2. So it was really out of the well over 1,000 people that rejected me, that led to 400, that led to 200 that did anything, that led to 10 or 11, maybe 12 who built a strong business. And it doesn't matter if I'm good, if I wasn't willing to go through the numbers, I wouldn't have created what I created. And so many people think that like once you build your organization, you can go into super leader mode, right? And what that really is management mode. Like, I'm going to lead my way to the top. I'm going to manage my way to the top.
Something, the management mood is the most boring part, because the beautiful part is building the organization and have fun with it. And then the management mood is the most boring part. So yeah. I advise leaders not going in the management mood, because it's really boring and gives you no satisfaction.
That's one of our biggest challenges as leaders, is preventing our team from going into management mode. And the easiest way to do that is to stay out of management mode ourselves. And, you know, a question I get all the time is, hey, what's the best way to motivate my team? And my answer is always to go start a new team. Show your team what's possible. And that'll motivate them to go duplicate.
Wow, look, I'm Italian, I talk too much. My biggest challenge is I'm talking too much. So I would have loved to say so many things while you're talking, but I love also to listen. I'm also struggling with some personal challenges. So listening, like I'm a small tornado and I like to talk.
I see that in you.
It's a beautiful thing. And I was listening to you and I was like, that's what I mean with shortcut to success. You can read thousands of books and I love reading, but once you get the best leaders in an event, you have actually the puzzle complete. You don't need anymore to search by yourself, go to read by yourself. You can still do it, but in an event, it's like a puzzle and every leader represents one of the pieces and you can collect these pieces and actually your puzzle might be complete. So I always say never miss events because you never know when you have that click that connects to your mind, to your heart, and maybe to your, I call it in Italian belly, but actually in English it's gods, right?
Yeah.
And that click. And there are many beginnings in our career. You can start when, of course, when you sign up in any company, but the real beginning is when you have that click and you commit yourself. You can have it after many years. You can have it many times. It's actually that decision you take. And I love listening to you because actually it's putting in 3 tips a lot of experience. And it also led me to reflect. And I think that also people that will listen to this interview will say, wow, actually becoming successful are not really doing difficult, strange things, but are simple things that you can do daily. So developing a habit, but especially small things that can really impact your career. Beautiful. So you really, and I agree with everything because actually I practice all of them, especially the second one, believing in people more than believe them themselves, because I find out that it's so powerful because in the day of today, and especially in this period, no one believes in themselves, but especially we don't believe in other people. So thank you because you really said something important. But going further, what do you think? How did events impact, help your career in network marketing?
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, the only thing that kept me in for 5 years was events, was, a commitment, an ongoing commitment to personal development. Right. And I remember my sponsor in that first company was in the company for a month or something. And she said, hey, we're all going to, this event. And it was in like North Carolina or something like that. And I had no idea. I'm like, oh, I can't afford to go. Right. And I was just going to like back out. And she was so persistent. She was so committed to me going. And, her commitment overrode my fear and my, scarcity mindset. And so I decided to go. And it really, like that event, it was even the first event, kind of changed things for me because I remember going to the event and just like catching a dream. And there was a leader on stage and he had come from like a month in Europe. And he talked about world schooling his children, teaching his kids history, not just out of the history books, but in the places in the world where the history actually happened. And I thought, oh my God, I don't have kids, but that's what I want to give to my children one day. And so that kind of became my, my dream, my why, right? And had I not gone to that event, I wouldn't have caught that. And I could have read it out of a book, but it's different when you're, there, whether you're seeing it virtual or live or whatever, like it's more powerful. And over the years, like it was, you're right. It's like a puzzle. And there's always like one thing, like we're missing like one thing. And you never know which event you're going to go to that's going to give you the one thing that's going to be the key that unlocks your potential, that unlocks your success, that unlocks your financial freedom, that unlocks all the dreams that you have inside your heart. And if I remember being in Monte Carlo, we did a leadership event and it was like our company incentive trip, right? And we're overlooking, I think it's like the oldest casino in the world. There's Bugattis and all these supercars. And it's just this, incredible place, right? And it was a rooftop dinner. And I started asking the leaders, I was like, hey, what was the turning point in your career? And I asked about 8 different leaders, and all of them said it was an event. It was some moment in some event where they were sitting there and they just caught it. Like they made the decision, and what it takes to build a huge network marketing business is a big decision, as you said. And big decisions are made at big events. And so you've got, the Business for Home event coming up. It is a big event. You have so many of the top leaders in our profession, top income earners, and so many different companies that are here training you. And so if there were ever an event to be able to catch that one thing, I think this would be the event to go to. And it has been our key. Over the last, 12 years, our, leadership team, we've done it through events. We have quarterly events. And my whole philosophy in the last 12 years has been get people in and get them to the event. Get them in, get them to the event. Because what we find is no one really builds it big if they're not plugged into events. They just don't. I haven't seen evidence of people succeeding wildly, not going to events. And it's kind of like, what I always teach is if you want to be a doctor, you got to go to a medical school. Like, what would you think about me if I said, I'm going to be a doctor and I'm really committed to being a doctor, but I'm going to skip medical school? You would think I was crazy, because everyone knows you can't be a doctor without going to medical school. Same thing. If you want to be a lawyer, you got to go to law school. Well, so many people get in network marketing and they think, I want to be a millionaire in network marketing, but I'm not going to go to millionaire school. I'm going to be 100,000-aire, but I'm not going to 100,000 school. And it's the thing, you're like crazy if you think you're going to make it big without going to events. And it has just been, it's been probably the biggest factor in being able to create the success that we have, is just leading people to events, because that's where people catch fire.
At the beginning, we all go to events because we want to see now how it's going, the leaders, and learn. The first phase I always think is learning. Let's go to learn. The second phase, we take our team because we really want to show them that it's possible. And you want to be on stage, not anymore for yourself, but for your team, because when you don't show them it's possible, they will think it's impossible. So it was always, it's possible. You want to show it to people. And the third phase, I think, was more, I want to see my team on the stage and just be on the background and clap the hands. And when you get to that point and having your team on the stage, that's actually the phase of your career.
I think about my peak moments in network marketing, and none of them were when I was recognized on stage. It was almost always when someone else on my team got recognized. I remember, one event, a young lady on my team got recognized, 6-figure earner for the year, and she's crying, and I'm on the front row and I'm crying. And she said, I didn't know something like this was possible for someone like me. Right. And it was like, wow.
And now people will what they say, but they will never forget how they felt. And when someone cries, maybe I don't cry on stage, but I really get emotional when other people are crying, because they really express all their emotions. So, but the business, I do believe, and I have to say, it is the first event where they put so many superstars from different companies all together. So I'm really excited myself. I'm excited to take just a pen and the book. I will be hosting one of the 3 days event. So that day I will listen carefully, not with 2 years, but with 20. So I will do 5 years.
That's good. That's good.
Because I think it's the first event where so many legends, so many people are coming really together. And as I see network marketing industry, being here to some parts also, I really need to say this in this interview, because I think that network marketing is just like an industry as the football, but even bigger, because our industry is bigger than music, sport, and acting industry. Can you imagine going to
combine
finding all those superstars in these 3 industries, and they ask me what I'm doing, and sitting next to, I'm not going to make names, but in the past I find that Jeff Bezos saying hello without bodyguard, just sitting in some bars because you don't need security. And you find all these CEO and all these big millionaires and even billionaires that are coming here with their private jets and with their yachts. Abramovich has, by the way, here his new private jet. I really believe, and when I talk about network marketing, I talk as such a big industry full of big, amazing players. And as an example, I would say Cristiano Ronaldo plays in this team with this age and with this experience. I will talk about all the superstars, Zlatan Ibrahimovic. I will talk about all different players in different companies, but it's all in the same industries. And I talk so big and I make so many names. One of them is you, and I can tell you Holton Bucks. That is one of the person I actually started with, and it was one of the digital virtual mentors. And I mentioned Jenna Swagel and so many others. I mean, and this event that is coming, I'm pretty sure that it's gonna elevate also the industry, because I hope, and I'm personally going to see the event as really the biggest world champion league for the football, where everyone is coming not for winning, but to contribute to the industry and show the world how big it can be and how big it can become. And it's an honor, it's a privilege, and I really look forward. And one of my last questions, Matt, because the truth is that I really enjoy the interview and I would stay here for hours, because that's who I am. I'm a people person and I love to know more.
Yeah.
I think for the people that are watching the interview is why should all the people that are watching this interview come to the Business from Growth Conference virtual event in June?
Yeah, I mean, you said it for one. I mean, the other thing, and if you've been in our profession for any length of time, we talk about personal development, right? I mean, that is a key. It's one of my, I talk about a leadership law, is a commitment, an ongoing commitment to personal development. And it's great to, be into personal development and read books and all this stuff. But I'm also a big fan on specialized knowledge. So, if I go back to the doctor analogy, right? You need specified, specific knowledge to be a doctor, specified, specific knowledge to be an attorney. If you want to be a network marketing pro, you need specific knowledge on network marketing, not general personal development. Like, you need that too. But if you want to be an expert in something, like, dig into that. And at this event, you've got the top leaders in so many different companies, legends of our profession, coming together to give the best of the best, right? Ted only gave me about 20 minutes. And so I'm like, all right, I got to pack in 20 minutes of my best content that's going to allow someone a breakthrough. And every leader, like, we're competitive. Like, I'm giving my very best. And every other leader, they're as competitive as I am. And so they're giving their very best, because we're all committed to transformation. And, my belief is the same as the other leaders, the same as you as well, is that a rising tide raises all ships. And, united we stand, divided we fall. And so it's all of us coming together, united, in order to raise the profession and specifically to rise up new leaders. So I don't want to be the speaker every year at this convention. I want to see other leaders rising up, because when I see other leaders rising up, like, you may come to this event, you catch one thing that causes you to, like, transform your business, and a year later, you're speaking at the event. And now I have people on my team who are plugged in, and they're hearing your story, and it ignites them and allows them to have more success. And so, I want to create transformation in our profession, because I know it's going to come back to me. So, that's it. It's the best specified knowledge in our profession. That's what you're going to get at this event. And there's really no other place to get it in the way that you're going to get it here, because you've got so many legends coming together. So I just think, especially for the cost of the event, I mean, he should be charging way more for this event, for what you're going to get out of it. It'll be, I can't see that it won't be the best return on your investment of just about anything that you could put your money into.
Yes, but Ted told, when I met him because I live in Amsterdam, of course, we meet sometimes, when he asked me to become one of the hosts, because you need to be live on the event. So I live in Amsterdam. And he told me, my focus is to really reach as much as possible people, but not that are a long time in network marketing, but are just fresh people, new people that maybe are not willing to spend hundreds of euro, but just a couple of euro, maybe their last money, just in some country, like in some continents where they don't have resources. I just want for them, for those people, to give them the opportunity to be in. And I grew up with videos from Jeff Roberti, and your videos, and of Holton Bucks. I get the chance to meet him live, but so many leaders I was Googling and looking to all these beautiful videos just to catch more inputs. And you have so many, by the way, on internet. And seeing all this video helped me to just do the shortcut to success and not doing my own mistakes, but just applying what you are doing. And when you do 100% all what you are saying, things that we like, but things also that we don't like, and that's another thing, people who really get to success. So yes, the price is ridiculous, I think. I mean, it's important price, but when you get 3 days of an event with all these superstars that are really looking forward to give information, share, and contribute. And I look forward because many times, let's be honest, we don't get the chance to meet each other or to listen to each other, just if we go to maybe a company event of the other leaders, but we don't always do that, you know. So finally we get them all together. So I'm really grateful that Ted and Dini had this idea. I've been the past 2 years to their events, and it was just incredible. But because it was in Europe and there were a lot of maybe USA speakers, there were not only the crowd of Europe. And now I'm happy because the event comes into the houses of the people. That's the beauty of this COVID-19. It opened the doors to a lot of digital business. And I really learned in this period what means really going full virtual and digital. So really going with the event in the house of the people. And we are quite lucky. I think we are lucky and privileged to have this opportunity. So I'm grateful, I'm happy. And yeah, I'm happy to listen to you. I'm pretty sure a lot of people will listen to this interview. Ted will publish it in the Business Forum. So click on the link, just listen, because this gentleman will give a training. So now you just got to know him a little bit, who he is, but I'm pretty sure that you want to follow his training and all the other trainings of the leaders on the event. So go on the Business Forum website and just buy your ticket, because I'm pretty sure it will be the best investment you have ever done in your career, because I can guarantee you, and maybe you write me privately, I don't do that because I have too many messages, but in case it really changes your life, I'm willing to give you guarantee that it will really change your career. It will really change your life, this event. So we'll meet all there. So
all right.
Matt,
Sounds good. All right. Well, we'll see you guys there. Thank you so much. I appreciate the interview, and looking forward to making a big impact at the event.
Enjoyed it
with all
the
the
most.
other
That's
leaders.
important.
What's that?
I enjoyed. That's important.
For sure.
And a lot of people will enjoy it as much as I did. And see you all on the event. Looking forward. And thank you, Matt Morris.
My pleasure. All right. Take care, everyone. Appreciate you tuning in. We'll see you there.
We'll see you there.